Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast, episode 97, the show where we celebrate our fandoms through positivity. I'm your host today, Darren McClymans. Joining us today, we have a very, very special guest, my good friend, the Red Arrow. Red Arrow, Braden, how's it going?
What's up? I'm glad to hear that I'm a very good friend.
You are a very good friend. I
I
love
know,
having
I
you
know.
on. Actually, you suck.
Same. Oh yeah, I'm terrible.
This terrible friend. No, I was kidding. It's
Man, he's talking me up. I got a lot to live up to now.
No, I mean, I was even saying this over on the video I posted the other day about the X-Men, but it's been really fun. Just like this last 6 months or so, just being able to. I've been over on your channel a lot. You've been over here a little bit, so it's been really fun just hanging out with you. It truly has been.
Yeah, and this is like the first time we're not exclusively just talking about something that's X-Men, so that's kind of cool.
It has, yeah. We've done a lot of X-Men stuff this year, which it's the year of X-Men. I feel like it truly
Literally.
is.
It's like 2018 was like the year of Spider-Man with the game and Spider-Verse and all that.
Yeah, it's fun because I started the year going through X-Men the Animated Series, which bled into 97, which has now kind of been the hype with Deadpool and Wolverine, which comes out today, which is very exciting. I cannot wait. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, how have you been, man? What's been going on inside your world?
Not much. I'm moving, so that about to switch jobs, so that a lot of life changes. But I'm just waiting for Deadpool and Wolverine right now, basically. I'm seeing that later today, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I that's kind of been my week as well. Just this like petrol. Okay, it's 5 days until Wolverine. Okay, it's 4 days. It's 3 days, and I haven't had that for a movie in quite a long time. I guess the only thing kind of close to that, not to say I haven't been excited for things. I have, like Inside Out just came out. I was really excited for that, but I guess the only time I've been like relatively this excited for a movie, I guess, was the last Spider-Man movie. I guess it would have been Across the Spider-Verse because I was very excited for that movie. But even then, I don't know. I think this might take the cake. It's just it feels like there's just so much hype surrounding it.
Yeah, I don't think I've been this excited for a movie since The Batman, and I think that's saying a lot because
Batman.
I mean, you know me. Batman's obviously my favorite character. Spoilers for some stuff we may be talking about later on.
Spoilers, yeah. Absolutely. No, it's great. It's great. We're going to be talking about some Marvel related things later on in our stream here, and it's kind of crazy how just filled with Marvel it's been these last couple weeks and these next upcoming weeks. Like last couple weeks, we had the Agatha trailer drop, we had the Captain America trailer drop. This week we have Deadpool. This week we also just Kevin Feige keeps dropping stuff. Like he keeps being like, we're doing this and we're not doing this and doing this, and it's like, my gosh, you're talking a lot. Then Comic-Con is starts like today as well, so it's a crazy.
Well, that doesn't give me confidence that Deadpool and Wolverine is going to give a direction to the MCU. Then.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I'm curious. Because I do think they're, and maybe I shouldn't talk about this too much now because we're going to in a little bit here, but like I'm curious what they're going to drop and if they're going to reveal anything about Deadpool in that panel on Saturday. Like, are they going to be like, well, the consequences of that movie is leading into whatever we're doing next? I have no idea. So it'll be interesting.
I guess we'll know after we see the movie. Hopefully,
hopefully
he doesn't have to answer that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think we did this last time that you were on. We normally like starting our shows by asking our guests what they've been watching lately. Is there any art that you've been consuming? Any books, any video games, any TV shows, any movies that you would like to shout out or talk about?
Oh man, dude, I've been slacking on watching stuff lately.
It can be even since the last time you were here, which was like what, March?
Oh,
is anything you watched since March?
I think I've started a bunch of shows since then, like Community, The Wire, The Bear. Have I finished any of them? No. Are they all good? Yes.
Hell yeah. That's the story.
I usually start one show, finish it, and then start another one, but I just started a bunch at once. I'm like, let's see what this is like. And then I immediately got overwhelmed and haven't gone back to any of them in weeks.
that's story of my life. Is I got like 30 different shows started, and it's like, where do I need to finish some of these. I need to just focus on the ones I have started. But yeah, no, that's very fun. Community is one of my favorite shows. I'm glad. Are you on season 5 of that?
I am on season 5. Like, I could probably binge the rest of it in a weekend, but I have not decided to do that yet.
Oh yeah.
Part of it's just because I don't want to be done with the show, though. I'm like, I like this show.
I feel that. I actually did that with New Girl. As I love New Girl, I watched the first 4 seasons. I was like, I only have 2 left. I'm just gonna stop because I don't want to finish it.
Dude, I've started all these new shows, and I still want to like go back and rewatch Parks and Recreation soon. I saw that like a year and a half ago, but I'm like, that show was so good. It was fun.
I want to watch that.
It's a great take on a mockumentary.
Every time I see a clip from that, it's like, that looks like something I'd love. That looks like
dude, it's awesome. If we were just doing best shows overall today, it might be one of my picks. That's how good it is.
Hell yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, I went through a good sitcom era like a year ago where I did like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and then Community and then most of New Girl. And I was like, I love sitcoms. I think for so long I had a bad like, I don't think I knew what a sitcom was. I thought it was like exclusively laugh track, like Disney Channel, like Friends. Like I feel like I thought that's what it was for the longest time. And then it's like, well, no, there's a completely other genre of sitcoms that are really good. Not to say that laugh tracks aren't good, but there's a whole other like genre to it, and I love that.
Laugh tracks aren't good though. Laugh tracks suck. I hate them.
I like it.
I could bear them as a child, but dude, going back and rewatching any show with a laugh track in it makes me cringe so hard. I hate it so much. Do not try to cue me when to laugh. It's not going to make me laugh. It's going to make me hate you.
I like a honest laugh track. Like, I don't mind if it's a live studio audience, if it's a real laughter. That's fine. I hate the fake ones.
They all feel fake, though. They all feel like the same laugh track.
Yeah. Especially, like, I grew up with Disney. Like, I was a Disney kid. Especially some of those later Disney shows are really bad about it. Like, they are real. Like, every 2 seconds there's a laugh track at the most unfunny thing. And it's just like, this is
I feel like I just somehow didn't notice as a kid, or maybe like it was just in everything we watched as a kid that it was normal. But like once I started seeing, I don't know, more adult themed things, I'm like, why are there laugh tracks everywhere in these shows? It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I'll be curious because it does feel like that medium is kind of dying out in a big way. Like I'm trying to think, like, what's a show with a laugh track currently? And not much, I guess, outside of, like, your Disney and stuff like that. They're kind of dying out, I feel.
Dude, there's, like, a couple of spoof episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia that use laugh tracks, but it's literally just, like, spoofing other sitcoms that had laugh tracks. They're, like, a certain era of sitcoms that all use laugh tracks, and it's funny when it's used in that way to, like, basically mock the concept of laugh tracks.
Yeah, the like WandaVision thing where it's like, yeah, we are pretending to be like a sitcom. Like that's the point of what we're doing.
I almost feel like I don't know. I feel like audiences are just more. Maybe they're just more like narratively driven now than they used to be because like I don't know. I feel like I don't want to watch anything if I'm not interested in the narrative, the plot of it all.
Sure.
Like if I'm not into your story, like why should I watch this?
I agree.
Like, episodic shows can do that too. Like they can just have individual episodes that are interesting.
Yeah.
They don't need an overall, overarching story to the season or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I really struggle with episodic things at times because it's just like trying to get me.
Oh, I know how long it's taking you to watch a certain show.
Yeah, I mean, it's in terms of what I've been watching. I have been watching Batman the Animated Series, which we may or may not talk about later. I've missed a couple days this week, but I've just been like waking up prior to work and being like, I'm gonna put on an episode while I wait to leave, and it has been fun. It's given me this like Saturday morning cartoon vibes of just like starting my day with a classic animated show, and it's been good. And then I kind of wanted to get it done by, I'm not going to do this, not even close, but originally I was like, I'll get it done prior to the Caped Crusader coming out, and that didn't happen. But yeah, that's been fun to watch. That's been really fun.
I think if you're like a continuity guy, the best way you can watch Batman the Animated Series is not like as one ongoing story. It's just how it fleshes out that world
Selection.
and the
Yeah.
characters in it.
Yeah.
Because like they develop a lot, even though it's an episodic show. Like they flesh out its characters quite a bit.
Sure. Yeah, it feels like a collection of stories, unlike like a ongoing TV show, if you will. Like it feels like okay, this like it kind of they kind of feel like these mini movies that you kind of sit down and enjoy, which I think is cool. I think it's like it's hard to get that in like the superhero genre now, where it's like they have to be either movies or these 6-episode events. And it's cool to just have a show that's like 60 stories. It's what 80 episodes. It's like 80 little episodes of the Batman, and it can gross that story, because I think Batman, and that's one of the things I think why I haven't been able to connect with the movies of Batman so much, is just because like I don't know, I feel like you don't have enough time to connect with them or really get to like the nitty gritty of who Batman is. But now I've been having a lot of fun with that. I've been watching Through the Bear. I'm on the final season of that, and you said that you started that, right?
Yeah, I'm on Forks right now. I'm still on season 2,
Forks?
episode 7. Yeah.
Hell yeah, Forks is great. Yeah. And I started season 3, and I went into it kind of a little worried because I saw a lot of people like not liking it. I saw some people saying it was their least favorite. I actually think it's my favorite start of a season. I think the season 3 is my favorite start of all 3 seasons. I don't know if it's going to stick that landing or not, but I think it's been great. And yeah, I guess I also just saw Twister this week, which was a highlight as well.
Oh yes, I saw. We watched Twister, the first one, together actually, and then
we did. Yeah,
we both saw Twisters in the last week. So yeah, I forgot about that. Twisters was good. It was good.
It was fun. Yeah.
The most memorable thing from the first one was the soundtrack to me, and the most memorable thing from Twisters, the one that's in theaters right now, was the first 10 minutes. Honestly.
Oh really?
Okay. I think that was the most impactful part of the movie, anyway.
Wow. Okay. I mean, fair enough. It was actually one of my favorite movies this year so far.
Like Glenn Powell is awesome. Don't get me wrong, but
He's
Glenn Powell. He's always awesome.
There's some really good stuff. I like. Yeah, we also watched the first Twisters, and I liked that movie. I thought it was fine. But like there are standout moments in the movie. Like there's that scene where they have it's a 30-year-old movie. I think I can spoil it. There's like the house flips over in the middle of where they're driving, and they drive through the house through the window, and it's just like, this is really cool. I don't know. But yeah,
visually it's a cool movie, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it was fine. The soundtrack was pretty awesome.
Soundtrack was that consistent.
The soundtrack of Twisters is just like a country soundtrack, so if you're not into country music, it's not as good as the first one.
Yeah, I don't like country, so I didn't.
I think it fit what the second movie was doing, like how they were using the soundtrack, but I did not like it nearly as much as the first one.
I agree. I 100% agree. Speaking of sequels, if you will, we're gonna jump into our first news story here. The second trailer for Joker 2 released this week. Obviously, we already mentioned this a little bit. You're a huge Batman fan. Do you like the first Joker movie?
I love the first Joker movie, honestly.
Okay. I love it too. I think it's a really good movie. I wouldn't say I love it. Like, I wouldn't say I enjoy watching Joker. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's hard to say you enjoy watching it, but it's...
Yeah.
I feel like it's a thought-provoking movie, and it's very intense. It's pretty deep. I watched it... I think the last time I watched it was the time I watched it right before I was trying to go to sleep, and it's not a movie you watch before bed, because you're just like... You're left with so many thoughts, even after you've seen that movie like 2 or 3 times, and you rewatch it, you're like...
Oh, sure.
This movie's just effed up, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a movie. I saw it in theaters. I haven't watched it since. I don't know if I want to watch it again. Like, I don't. Maybe I will prior to this one coming out. But also, it's a tough movie, and it was such a polarizing film when it came out, because it's like it made $1 billion, which is crazy to me still. I can't believe it did that. So many people wanted to see it, and half the people thought it was a piece of cinema and amazing. Some people walked out. Some people, like, it was such this polarizing event. And how have you been kind of going into the second one? Like, is this a movie you're actively excited about? I know you kind of had some a bit of a backing when it came to like the musical side of it. Like where are you feeling after watching this trailer?
I mean, both the trailers have been really good.
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to it more than I was beforehand, just knowing it was a musical. But uh, I mean, I'm definitely gonna see it.
Mhm.
I still don't really know what this movie is going to be, which I think is a good thing.
Sure. We still don't really know the plot. Like there's hints of it. We know it's Harley and Joker bonding. We know they're in Arkham. We know there's some kind of uprising with other people dressing up as the Joker. That's about
Yeah,
it.
that's
Like,
interesting to me.
yeah. Yeah, I
Especially that
actually,
Joker that like keeps running up to him in the trailers. I'm like, who is this guy?
yeah. I
I really
really,
hope that that fan theory, like after the first Joker of like, oh, this isn't the real Joker. This is the guy that inspired
inspires the
the
Joker.
real Joker. I really hope that doesn't delve into that whole thing because I think that would be so stupid.
I think it almost takes away from these movies if that's the case.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, just do your own thing, stick with what you're doing, and I think you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, these are movies that I think, like, because, like, that's the thing about the first Joker is, like, yes, it's a comic book movie, but so barely. Like, if you take the name Joker out, if you take a couple of minor characters from that movie out, it doesn't feel like a movie about the Joker. It feels like a clown movie that has the name Joker on it, which I actually think is a good thing. I think that's almost the strength of it, is that it kind of lives
I
separate
mean,
from the comic book counterpart.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's a clown, and he's got a laughing condition,
Sure.
and he's gone insane. So that makes him the Joker, I guess. But yeah,
Sure.
definitely not the typical Joker from the comics. But
Sure. 100%.
I
Yeah, and
mean,
I'm
I don't know. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it as like just another take on the Joker. Like
100%. Yeah.
we've had plenty of them already. There's plenty of
It's
room for another one. I mean, the character's how old now? He was created in 1940. He's almost 100 years old. So
sure, no, 100%. I think that's just strength of DC that, like, at least at the moment, like, you could shit on DC all you want. I think, like, I love that they can tell so many versions of so many different stories. Like, Marvel's great. I love them for the most part, but there's, like, up until now, one Iron Man, one Captain America, one Wolverine, or whatever. Or DC, you have like 50 Batmans, 50 Jokers, 50 Supermans, and I personally like that. I like having a, like, commodity of different adaptations that you can be like, this one's the one I love. Like, this is my version of those characters, and yeah, it's great. I'm curious how they're going to live up to that first movie, though, because again, that was such a good movie. It won an Oscar.
wow.
Uh,
I'm
like
just real
how,
is Spider-Man and like Fantastic Four and I guess a select few X-Men characters the only like Marvel characters that have had multiple iterations in film. I'm just now realizing that.
yeah, in film, I'd say
Oh, Hulk
Hulk has
has
had
had a
three.
what?
Hulk has had three. Spider-Man has had three. Um, Blade will have two, I guess. Reed Richards, yeah, like the Fantastic Four would have upcoming having three. But
Well, there was like
yeah,
that 1990 movie, right? Or that like really low
sure,
budget
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Fantastic
If we
Four
start
movie.
going into that, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Um,
there's well, I guess there's been multiple Captain America if you go into that
yeah, if
too.
you're going back to like the really golden age, and of course you have
Well, I
animated
mean, I feel
shows,
like when you talk about
movies.
Batman, you have to include Adam West. So
Yeah, no, of course, of course, of course. But like, it also is very apparent that DC does that more than Marvel does. You know what I mean? Like, Marvel likes to
I,
stick
I
to.
feel like they do that in the comics more often too, though, don't
Mhm.
they? Like they reboot the universe like every 10 years at this point,
Yeah, I think DC does it more than Marvel. I think
which is
Marvel
kind of
never.
why it's hard to get into comics sometimes for me. Even
Yeah,
though it, in theory, I guess that should make it easier because at least you know what you're reading is going to have an end, and you can like realistically reach that end in your lifetime. It's not just going to be a never-ending story. But at the same
sure.
time, like if
It's not like One Piece where it's just like 10 years. It takes 10 years to
taking
read one. Yeah.
shots at all the anime fans out there, dang. Well, I guess just the One Piece fans.
I mean,
I'll
I
take a
hear it's
bigger
great.
shot.
I hear it's
Yu-Gi-Oh is the
amazing.
best anime I've ever seen. Yu-Gi-Oh is awesome. Darren, if you ever do a Yu-Gi-Oh episode, I'll be hyped. You get me and Connor on.
It'll just be you two talking. I'll be like, all right, guys, have fun.
Get ready to duel.
Amazing. One thing I really liked about this trailer though is I'm really intrigued with the court stuff in this movie. First of all, is that's real? Are they really in a court? Is he really addressing the people, or is that all in his head? You know what
I
I
think
mean?
I asked you this like while I was watching the trailer earlier. I was like, the thing about this movie is how much of it is even real? Because how
Yeah.
much of the last movie do we even know is real?
And yeah,
I feel like that's part of the point of the bargaining, though,
yeah,
right? Like they don't want you to necessarily know because with how the first movie ended, they didn't want you to know. So why would they want you to know
Yeah.
going into this one? But like the character of Harley makes all that interesting though because she is directly like interpreting the events that happened in the last movie, like calling him Joker and everything. So
Mhm.
if she's real, the Joker has to be real, right? Like the Joker is
Sure.
not just a concept he's created in his head while he's locked in Arkham or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's one of the most fascinating things about this movie. Like, that's kind of my like defense with many people when it comes to the musical. I think that's why I think the musical aspect can work, because we don't know how much of that is real and how much of it is in his head. Because I assume most of the musical sequences we're going to see are very much in his head. The Harley side of it, I assume Harley is real, but I also think that's interesting. That's an interesting twist to it, because what's in Arthur's head and then what's in Harley's head. You know what I mean? Like it could, like maybe Arthur's not even there. Maybe it's all in her head this whole time. I don't know. Like
I'm interested. They're promoting Harley as like another patient in Arkham, right? But
Yeah.
we know her backstory is she started as a doctor in Arkham. So like,
I'm curious if
is she
maybe
at
they
all going to be a
abandon that.
doctor in Arkham in this?
Yeah,
Yeah, do they just abandon it completely, or are they just not showing us like where it all began? Maybe.
sure. I have no idea. I've heard people say it looks like they're abandoning it, but also I don't want to cross it out. Like I don't know. I don't know what they're doing in the movie. It'd be kind of a fun twist if maybe like,
Or well, the first movie, a lot of it's like kind of just a therapy session, right? What if this is kind of that, and like he's just viewing Harley as a patient, but she's actually
fun.
like trying to perform therapy, and by the end, like she really does become Harley Quinn or something like that.
He convinces her. It'd be even
I
kind of
may
funny.
have just spoiled the entire movie for everyone. I apologize.
No, that's a great theory. And also maybe it's an aspect that like she thinks she was a doctor. She thinks that's what the life she lived, but she made it all up in her head as like an escape or whatever. Like I have no idea. There's a lot of fun that I think can be had with these two characters. Just not knowing what the real reality of the situation is. So,
dude, how crazy is it that the director of The Hangover, Todd Phillips, is the director of both these Joker movies? Is that not just an insane thing to think about?
it's great. I mean, I haven't seen those movies, but that sounds insane.
I've never seen one in like its entirety. I've seen clips from like all of them though.
I've seen a bunch of clips over the years, and the movies.
It's just weird to think that guy directed Joker. Like it just shows you like the prism of directing is so wide.
I agree. It's fun. I definitely think we're in for a banger in terms of the sequel, though. Like, I'd be shocked if this one's like not good. I think it'll live up to the hype.
It's hard to see this one not being good with how good the first one was, but
I'd be shocked if it's not good. All right, kind of moving on to our next story. I actually feel like these two stories kind of go hand in hand in terms of like, not knowing what's real, if you will. So you finished The Boys season 4, right?
Yes, indeed.
Did okay. So this came out after The Boys finale aired that night. An interview with Eric Kripke came out. He said a couple things, and this is just kind of something he had said. Eric Kripke has teased an interest in a Jeffrey Dean Morgan spinoff in the Boys universe, and this to me was a very weird thing, because I was like, how would that work? If anyone...
Wait, How are they going to do that without Butcher? Are they going to bring Carl Urban back?
I don't see. That's the thing. So obviously, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen The Boys season 4. Jeffrey D. Morgan's character plays a parasite in Butcher's head, right? He plays the like tumor that's been going, and he kind of plays the evil side of Butcher's mind, if you will. And this came out, and I was like, how would that work? Now I had a couple ideas in my head.
Oh, I took it that like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, like yes, he is that, but he's also just probably a guy from Butcher's past that has been long gone.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
like it would be a prequel to The Boys.
That's what I was thinking. Is like maybe it's a prequel back in the days where Butcher served or whatever. It's like a military-esque. I think he was. Yeah, I think it was like the military or whatever it was. And but then I go into the question of like, is that an interesting show though? Like, how are you incorporating the votness, the soup side of the Boys universe in that time era? Like, I'll be interested if that's the direction they want to go. But I mean, what's your take on all this? Like, is this something that you could potentially see, or are you like, nah?
I mean, I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Carl Urban, so I'd be down to see it. But in terms of how it connects to the overall universe, I don't really think it's necessary at all.
No, it's weird because again, I do
because like we don't really need a prequel of The Boys. Like where The Boys starts is like a fine starting point for this universe and this franchise. Like they don't need to show us anything happened before that, other than like what they may have already shown us in flashbacks in The Boys.
Yeah, I mean, I also do love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I agree. I think he's such a great actor. I love him. I was even thinking maybe you could do some sort of like, and I don't think this really makes sense because he does only exist because it's in Butcher's mind. But maybe you do like this like Venom-esque series where like he is the host, he's this Venom type character. But then I was like, but I thought he only existed because it was Butcher. Like he's just taking the shape of someone Butcher knew. So does that work? I don't know. It'd be interesting. I mean, how are you feeling on just like the overall Boys universe and their interest to expand this world? Because obviously we have Gen V season 2 coming. We have The Boys Mexico coming. They've teased wanting to do other shows within this universe. Are you okay with them wanting to expand this world out, or are you kind of wanting them to scale back a little bit?
I mean, all we've had so far are The Boys and Gen V, and I've liked pretty much all of it. There's been like some episodes that are here and there, but overall, every season of The Boys has been a hit for me. Like I wouldn't say there's been a bad season. And Gen V season 1 was really good as well. So what they've shown me has me no reason to like tell them to stop.
Sure.
But I guess we'll see with The Boys Mexico how that is.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've been, where it's like I've loved, like it's weird because I do have some fears with, we've seen like other franchises go too far and try and grow too fast or whatever, but also it's like I've loved everything that they've put out between all 6 seasons of TV we've seen. I've enjoyed all of them, so it's like I can't tell them to stop because I think it's all been great. So I think as long as
my question is, I'm assuming season 5 is probably going to end. Yeah, I guess slight spoilers for season 4, even if you haven't seen season 4, you probably know some things didn't take place. I'm assuming season 5, first, Butcher's going to die because the cancer's going to kill him if Homelander doesn't. Yeah. But second, Homelander's probably going to die because it's going to be a missed opportunity if you don't kill him. Butcher's dead. Like Butcher's got to be the one to take him out. Got to.
Yes, I've always imagined you end the show with Butcher killing Homelander while also like sacrificing himself. That's just kind
of I guess this kind of brings up the question of like, where do you go if there's nowhere bigger? But also like, you can do smaller scale things, but like I don't know, Homelander is just that guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, how do you continue after he's gone? Because even in Gen V, like his presence. His lurking presence and him showing up in the finale was insane. I didn't expect that, which I'm pretty sure they spoiled it beforehand or something, or maybe the internet did. I don't know.
It got
That's
leaked out.
crazy.
Yeah, there was photos taken of him on set, I think.
Yeah, I was fully surprised when he showed up. Though I was like, "That's insane!"
Yeah,
But I don't know, just the Homelander, just knowing he's alive in universe, like, just brings another energy to that world. I guess, like, you just know he can come in at any moment and murder anyone he wants to. But
yeah.
once he's gone, like, what's that threat? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I'm wondering who the next big bad is going to be, because I'm just going to assume that like Gen V is going to be the next main show, and then like The Voice Mexico will be the next one up, or something like that. And I mean, I think there's characters in world that could take that Homelander spot. And we do have Soldier Boy at the moment, which I think Jensen Ackles is great. I could see him being like the next top dog if you wanted to. I've pitched. I think one of the most powerful soups in this universe currently is Kate, and I think she could be a very, very big threat if they wanted her to be. Just in terms of she can make anyone do anything, right? That's so scary or whatever. Even Sage, I think, could end up being like a very interesting direction where like she's not inherently powerful in terms of her powers or whatever, but she is so smart.
Is she gonna make it out of season 5 though?
I don't know. I could see it. I would not be shocked if like I don't know, because like we talked not on this show but my other show, we talked each week about the show, and I would like early on I was like, I would not be shocked if she's slowly trying to push Homelander out, like if she's like putting things in motion for her to end up on top, which would be pretty insane if that's how they wanted to end the boys or whatever. Like she kind of leads to his downfall or whatever.
I don't. Sage almost feels like a Martian Manhunter to me, though. Like, especially against someone like Homelander. Like, Martian Manhunter is just this powerful being in DC, right? But his weakness is fire, something that is so accessible to anyone. In Sage's case, she doesn't really have a weakness until you like damage her brain. Homelander can easily just damage your brain, and she's all of a sudden just an idiot. And what is she gonna do against Homelander then?
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's hard seeing her because her weakness seems so like it's all because of that like ball scene, and I think it was it episode 6?
Yeah.
Where she just hit her head on like a table or something, and she's just an idiot. And I'm like, okay, just any kind of head trauma. She does not have to lobotomize herself to make herself stupid. Any type of head trauma makes her that way. So like against Homelander, what chance does she stand if there's any kind of physical altercation?
Yeah, it has to be like a chest thing.
And Homelander isn't even like Superman, where he has a weakness. Like Homelander doesn't have a kryptonite equivalent, does he?
Milk.
Dude, those scenes are so weird. So weird to me. Which that's not saying a lot about the boys. There's so many uncomfortable, weird scenes in that show.
Good gosh, yeah. Season 4 was it was an interesting one for sure. But yeah, no, this is a story that like I did want to bring up because I did think it was kind of an interesting conversation that we had at least. So if anything does come of it in future, whatever, I guess I'll cover it then. Here's Jeremy. We are talking animation. We are counting cartoons or like animated shows, but not animated movies. We're not counting that. Alrighty. We're gonna be jumping into our last kind of main thing here, which is actually kind of a couple of topics. Because Kevin Feige has given several updates teasing the future of the MCU, which I'm gonna be pulling up here very shortly. Which I've been shocked how much he's been sharing ahead of Comic-Con. Which some of it is not the best news, so I guess that kind of makes sense. But there's some things like that are kind of teasing big things for the future of the MCU, which has been kind of surprising to me. And we're going to be pulling this up. How are you currently? Obviously, we talked about our hype for Deadpool. We talked about this almost every time you're on the show, but what's your kind of current vibes with the MCU at the moment? Are you feeling more positive or more negative on it?
If I'm being completely blunt, after Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't really care. unless they make me care.
Sure. I think they could be on a good stretch. I think they have the projects at hand that could be a really good stretch for Marvel. I'm just
so what have they announced? Like, because I don't think anything. So they're doing Spider-Man 4, right, with Tom Holland. I'll be excited for that.
Yeah, technically, I don't know if it's like they haven't put it on like their timeline yet. But
Okay.
yes, they've said they're trying to work on scripts and stuff like that. They're trying to get screenplays and stuff in order. In terms of movies, I think what's on the docket right now is Captain America 4 in February,
Yeah, I don't really care about that.
Fantastic Four in July.
I've never really dug the Fantastic Four. I don't know what it is. Because Doom isn't announced for that, is he?
Not yet, but I wouldn't be
I
shocked.
want Doom, bro. Just do Doom. Do Doom. I've been saying this like since they bought Fox. Like, just do Doctor Doom because I think he's a better.
Yeah.
I think he's a better big bad than Thanos. Like, this is how you get people back on track.
Yeah. Then Thunderbolts in November, I think, and then Blade at some point is also been announced, officially announced. And you know, there's been a lot of movies that have been announced that are just not on the timeline yet, like Shang-Chi 2, Doctor Strange 3, Spider-Man 4. Like, a lot of those type of things have been like they're working on it, but we haven't heard like officially when. But I do kind of want to jump into a couple of these. Now, this is Deadpool and Wolverine related, not a spoiler, so don't you worry, anybody. Not really. It's just more of a tease. But I did think it was kind of interesting. I do think it opens up kind of an interesting conversation here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is something that Kevin Feige said. If Avengers Infinity War is a 9 and Avengers Endgame is a 10, Deadpool and Wolverine is an 8 in terms of how important it will be to the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this came out last week, and I did think this was kind of interesting because I kind of don't know if this is a good idea. So do you get what I'm saying here, or no? I think maybe I lost you.
It's not a good idea because of like.
I think this may be a hot take.
Because it's probably raising people's expectations too much. That's saying a lot.
Yes, that is saying a lot, and I'm curious if it can live to that. But I kind of also don't love the idea, and again, this might be a hot take, that a rated R movie should be that important to the large scale of things. Because obviously, we love R-rated movies. We're excited for more R-rated MCU content. I think it's very important that Marvel does more of this. We know this is rated R. We know Daredevil is going to be a more mature show. We know Blade's going to be an R-rated project. But I don't think a rated R project should be essential viewing for the MCU. Because I do think that takes away a portion of your audience that would be going and wanting to expand this world. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like most people are probably like, anyone that's 13 or older is probably gonna see this movie.
I don't know though, because I think I don't know, a big part of the audience though, I do think it's children and families. Like, I do think it is.
I feel like families are gonna show up to this movie though. Like, it doesn't matter that it's rated R because
I don't know. Like
I feel like I don't know. I feel like most jokes in the first, unless you're, I don't want to like push any buttons with anyone, but like unless you're like super sensitive, I don't think the first two Deadpool movies, I don't think kids are gonna get a lot of the jokes that are like either insensitive or like, you know, over the top, like sexual or anything.
I don't know. Like, this isn't going to be, I don't know. Like this is a movie my mom will never see. Like, I'm never showing my mom these Deadpool movies. And that's a little disappointing to me because she's seen every MCU movie up until this point.
Oh,
and I hate this prospect of like something huge happening and then going into like Secret Wars or whatever and being like, well, Mom, sorry, you missed out on this big thing. And again, like, it's going to happen. I get there's going to be some consequences. I'm not saying there shouldn't be any. But I mean, don't know.
This is the movie introducing the X-Men to the MCU, though. I completely get it. It should have like major, it should be impactful in like what is happening going forward in the universe.
Sure.
Should have major implications. That's the word I was looking for.
But then I guess my pitch then would be, don't choose this to be the project you do that in, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, or don't make it rated R, which I don't like saying that because it's Deadpool. I think it should be rated R, but I don't know. That's just kind of a take that I have that I'm not sure. We'll have to see once we get to the movie,
I was about
obviously.
if Deadpool is going to be like a big part of it, though, like it kind of has to be rated R, though. Like if he's going to be a big part of the MCU moving forward.
Yeah. I'm just saying I don't like, but then again, maybe choose another movie for it to be your 9 or your 8 in terms of importance. Like,
how much of that? I wonder how much maybe he means by like maybe this movie retcons certain things in the MCU, so they can go in the different direction they're looking to go. I could see that being a possibility, and like this movie is kind of the perfect movie to do it because what other character other than Deadpool can really do that? One that can break the fourth wall and understand that this is a series of films.
Yeah, 100%. It's tough because the MCU is a different beast in terms of like cinema, if you will. Because I feel like this is the first of its kind, where it isn't necessarily like a movie; it's more of like a TV show, and it's like imagine you're watching like I don't know, name a TV show. Like imagine
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, yeah, a great Seinfeld. You watch every episode, and then episode 50, it's just like an R-rated episode, and it's just like, wait. I watch this with my grandma every week. How, like, why is this episode different? You know. So I think it can. Again, we have to see what the movie is. Like maybe you can explain it without having to see it. And I think MCU usually does a pretty good job about that, of like filling people in who haven't seen all of the projects or whatever. But
well, if they're also going to do more R-rated things in the future, this does set the precedence that those R-rated things may do something important. So, like, if you are an adult, go check it out.
I wonder if they like.
And like you said, your mom will never watch these, so like it's not necessarily even targeted just to adults. It's definitely a specific, like your senses have to be a specific.
100%. I wonder if they'll make like a little like PG-13 cut or whatever, just like not even a movie, but like maybe like a little recap of just like here's the most important bits without all the blood and violence or whatever.
Didn't they make a PG-13 cut of Deadpool 2? I don't know if they did it with the first one, but
it was like, yeah, wasn't it like a Christmas movie or whatever? It was like Deadpool something. It was like a Christmas thing.
Oh no, I thought they took like the actual movie of Deadpool 2 and like just like how they do director's cuts, but they just did a PG-13 cut for some reason. I'm like, okay, I guess that was to drive more DVD Blu-ray sales, maybe, or more digital sales, perhaps.
But again, I think that would make more sense here than it did then, because I feel like Deadpool back then it was kind of its own little thing, where now it's like this is an MCU movie now or whatever. Hero's Journey asked, "Do you think Armor Wars will be rated R because War Machine has a bunch of blood?" I don't think I don't think Armored Wars would be one that they would want to be rated R. I mean, that's basically an Iron Man sequel, so I'd say no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't Iron Man have a bunch of blasters and rockets on his suits as well, and those were PG-13?
Yeah, you could. They're fine. You could just like imply the death with that one. No, I think
like Deadpool, if they could get away with just implying it would be PG-13, but like the language is a different story. Yeah. Like you can't really stay true to the character of Deadpool without kind of.
I think you can because like I think we are going to see a rated R or like PG-13 Deadpool and certain things. Like I think Deadpool will be in Secret Wars, which will be a PG-13 rated movie type of thing.
Yeah, so, but like, he'll probably be like the one F-bomb in the movie.
Yes. Like I think, and also just like all the like promotion for Deadpool and like Wolverine. Like,
well, I mean, you can make Deadpool work in that way too. Yes. But like in his own film, it would feel wrong. It would really feel.
I 100% agree.
But outside of that, you can definitely make it work because like he breaks the fourth wall. He's going to understand. Like, oh, I'm in a family movie right now.
100%. I fully agree. Yeah, no, 100%. Like it can work. But I am glad that it isn't. You know what I mean? Like I'm glad it is rated R because I don't know if I'd want it without it. All right, here's our next moment, and again we have a couple of these. So I'll try and zoom. I'll try and go through these as fast as I can here. So this one was pretty. Oopsies. This one was pretty interesting. Kevin Feige has commented on the next era of the MCU will be the mutant era. He said every film. This is interesting. Every film post Deadpool and Wolverine will be the mutant era coming into the MCU, which is I have a hard time seeing that's true. like I have a hard time. I think maybe there's something in there that's mutant
Wait, so are
stuff.
they classifying the Fantastic Four as mutants then?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so, but maybe there's.
How is that film going to be the mutants era then?
I think what he's saying is maybe every film is building to the idea of it. Like maybe everything is building to introducing them, which it's something I've actually somewhat kind of theorized for a while. I think Captain America and Thunderbolts are really going to build up to the mutants, because I think especially Thunderbolts, I think is going to build up and especially Daredevil, I think, is going to build up the idea that what is a hero, what makes a superhero, what makes a person good or bad.
That just makes me think of the first Deadpool where Colossus is like coaching him to be a superhero. Yeah. It's like, it only takes 5 moments, Wade. 4 or 5 moments to be a hero. And Wade's like, oh, what the heck, man?
Yeah, and I think especially with Daredevil, and it seems like the main idea for that is like Kingpin is going after the heroes. Like it seems like he's going to be going after Daredevil and Spider-Man and Hawkeye and stuff like that. And I think there is going to be a distrust between the superheroes and the government. And
dude, there's so many like Spider-Man team-ups I'd love to see now. Yeah. Like Spider-Man and Daredevil, Spider-Man and Deadpool, just because of like all the animated Spider-Man stuff I've seen growing up. Like, give me that.
But yeah, no, this is...
Spider-Man's just that one guy you can put with anyone and it just works. Like you can put him with Wolverine, you can put him with Deadpool, you can put him with Daredevil.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this works. Obviously, we'll see after. I mean, we'll see if Captain America does anything to kind of set them up, if Thunderbolts, if whatever. I mean, we don't really know too much of the upcoming MCU movies. I guess we only have 4 announced at the moment. But yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, let's just zoom right past this. We have a couple of these. 1 second. We're gonna skip that Blade one because I feel like I already talked about that a good bit.
Okay, I know they released the Captain America trailer like a week ago. I haven't seen it. Did you see it?
I did.
How was it?
It's great.
Really?
It's a really good trailer.
Okay, I'm assuming I'm not gonna watch it. Maybe I'll watch it if they don't play it before Deadpool and Wolverine. But it feels like the play to play it before Deadpool and Wolverine.
I think that's why they put it out last week is to put it, because there's no other reason not to show it at Comic-Con. I feel like.
Yeah, literally. Like it's. I'm sure I'll see it today. If I don't, I'll be surprised.
This is a pretty big one. Kevin Feige has officially revealed that a new Marvel Studios special presentation is in the works. So this is actually a pretty big thing, a pretty big piece of conversation within at least my circle. Is that people really loved those. They did 2. They did the Werewolf by Night, and they did the Guardians of the Galaxy special.
Oh, those are both really good.
Yeah. Like I think like they were 2 for 2. And last one I think came out, what was it, 2022 or so? So it's been a couple years since they did the last one. People really enjoyed those and were like, hey, those were a really cool format for what you can do within the MCU. Where are they? So Kevin Feige officially says, hey, we're doing another one, which I am very happy about. And this is just a fun little spot to be like, hey, what's a character or a topic that you would like to see get a special presentation?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot they can do with this format. I think, personally, that they should probably prioritize these over the TV shows. As much as I love TV shows, they feel like they want to be movies. You know what I mean? Like they want to do that. And I feel like instead of every character getting their own show, be like, hey, how don't you get a special instead? Just to tell a little story or whatever.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel like the specials would be... I mean, they can still do shows, but just not as many. But like doing more of these specials would probably be a better way to keep Disney Plus subscribers, the ones that are there for Marvel.
I agree.
Definitely, yeah. No, that would probably be because I've loved both of them. What? I almost feel like maybe this would be a better like place for Moon Knight if you didn't want to give him his own film then a show. Are we getting Moon Knight season 2? Is that confirmed?
It's not confirmed. No.
Okay. No. See, I feel like you could just do a special then.
Yeah.
Like for Moon Knight, I feel like that would be perfect.
That'd be cool. I'm trying to think because I've I mean, I kind of like the idea. I've pitched it a bunch of times, but like maybe instead of doing a bunch of shows, you do one show. You do like an anthology series or whatever, where each episode you tackle like a different character or something. If you do that like animated or if it's live action or whatever, animated probably the cheapest way to do that or whatever. Kind of like What If, but like good. Hey,
Ooh, you know,
defunct, how's
another
it going?
special they could do is like
How's it going?
something with Mephisto, because I don't feel like they have the confidence to like put Mephisto in a film, but I feel like Mephisto is such an intriguing part of the Marvel universe to me. That
I mean,
like I want them to get there, but I don't know how they're going to do it. I feel like Blade might be a good spot for that.
it's like he's rumored for a current project. I don't know if it's officially confirmed yet, but he's seemingly the villain of an upcoming show. I don't know if you want me to spoil it. I don't think you're ever even going to watch that show, but
Oh, what show?
the Ironheart show, it seems like.
Oh, I forgot that was a thing. What?
I don't know if that's official, but it's the word around the street is that
Look, if
that's
Mephisto
the villain.
shows up in a show, you can tell me about it, and I will go
You'll watch
watch that episode.
Actually, this is a
I
kind
don't
of
know. It's kind of weird because they've already done Eternals, which they're not like literal gods, but they're basically might as well be demigods. Which it's weird, like saying they're demigods, because when you say a demigod, I think of Wonder Woman and DC, and I'm like that doesn't necessarily correlate. But I guess they might as well just be gods in the grand scheme of things. Because like they're not meant to interfere with like the actual Marvel universe, are they? They're just overlookers.
Sure. I don't really even know that much about the character outside of just the obsession during WandaVision. Everyone being like, Mephisto is coming, and then it's like, oh, actually, it's not. Sorry,
That happened
guys.
during WandaVision?
Oh, yeah.
Is that just the fan base?
Oh yeah, no, everyone was like, it's Mephisto. He is coming. He has to come. It was like, and it became the biggest meme. Now it's like every
Honestly,
project,
I mostly know him when I was like younger, like elementary school young. I played the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, and it was pretty freaking awesome. As like an 8-year-old, it was awesome anyway. I'd like to revisit it one day and probably be magnificently disappointed that it's not as awesome as I remember it. But Mephisto was in that game, and it was like there was like this dilemma where you had to choose to save either Nightcrawler or I don't know who the other character was. It might have been Jean Grey, but obviously as like an 8-year-old, I'm not thinking save the chick. I'm gonna go save Nightcrawler because he's cool as shit, right? He can teleport, man. He's awesome. I saw that White House scene next to, so I'm gonna, or it might have been Nightcrawler or Mary Jane. And I think the only way I would have saved Mary Jane is if I was Spider-Man.
How dare you?
It's like, well, I mean, I'd be like, this is the realistic thing. Like, Spider-Man would obviously save Mary Jane, but anyone else would be like, Nightcrawler's cool, and he's effective to the team. Why would I say Peter's girlfriend? Fuck him.
Defunct
and
asked
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they asked a question. Are you watching the most recent show I've noticed? Kite Man, the Harley Quinn spinoff, 3 episodes so far. I have not.
Yo, I started it. I saw the first 7 minutes, and it wasn't bad. I'm gonna probably just restart it from the beginning when I actually do watch it. But I was like, it's just a show that kind of felt like it would feel better as a binge. I don't know if I'll feel this way about K-Crusader when it drops, because there's certain shows that like you're just like. The reason I say it would have felt better as a binge is just because it's super similar to Harley Quinn. Like, it has that exact same tone and feel. And I was kind of expecting... Like, I know it's in the same universe and world, but I was kind of just expecting, like, a little different take, a little different tone on that world, you know? Not just the exact same thing, but it's Kite Man, but that's really what it is.
Does it feel like the exact same show?
Yeah, basically. It just feels like you're watching Harley Quinn, but there's no Harley Quinn. I'm not gonna lie. So that was a little off-putting. I was like, okay, I wish this would have just felt like a little different, a little like its own thing, because, I mean, the DCAU, you know, that earlier continuity of DC animated shows, it was that way, and I think that's a good thing. Like, make every show feel unique and unto itself, even though they are connected.
Yeah, I agree.
And I
I
feel
agree.
like Kite Man could have done something like Batman Beyond did to Batman the Animated Series. Like, it was a predecessor, but it wasn't just mocking it or mimicking it. It was really doing its own thing, even though it was paying homage to that show at the same time. I think Kite Man could have done something like that. Like, had a completely different feel, but like the humor was kind of, similar, the same. Like everyone's personality matched up, but I don't know. There could have been something a little bit different about it. Maybe
Yeah.
it could have felt. I don't know. They are playing Kite Man like a villain right now, so maybe that does change mid-season, because I feel like they're probably going to go in a direction similar to Harley Quinn, where he's starting out as a villain. He wants to be a great villain, but then he's like, oh, okay, I'm just better doing good in the world. Because I feel like that's what they've already established with Kite Man. Like, he's just better off being a good dude.
Yeah. He always felt like the least, I don't know, bad villain in the show or whatever. He always felt like a kind of a good guy.
I feel like it's still going to be cool, though, because it's going to like flesh out characters like Golden Glider, and I'm sure we'll see surely more of the Condiment King rivalry. So I'm sure it's going to like give us more of that world and more of the characters you won't see in Harley Quinn, because they're going a bit bigger scale than the show will. But
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting something a little different, but it's more the same that you see in Harley Quinn.
All right, we have two more here that I just want to get through really, really quickly. This is actually for a movie that I don't think you like.
I don't like.
That's the. Sorry, let me zoom in. That's the Internals.
We just talked about this movie. How ironic. I don't like it, though. No, I don't.
Marvel Studio, Kevin Feige said Marvel Studio has no immediate plans for an Eternals 2, confirms Kevin Feige. And this has kind of been a little bit of an ongoing story these last couple, almost the last year or so. Like once kind of Bob came back into Marvel, and there's been a narrative about Marvel taking safer choices, safer avenues. And that was a scare for a lot of people, where there's a lot of Phase 4, Phase 5 projects that people did enjoy, like the Internals, like Moon Knight, stuff like that. And they were very worried, are they not going to get second seasons? Are they not going to get sequels? Internals is a movie, I feel very bad about it. I did not enjoy the Internals. Not because I thought it was bad, I was just personally kind of bored with it. And again, maybe I have to give it another shot. Like maybe I need to go at it again with a different eye or whatever. I personally did not have that much fun with this movie, but this movie has such a fan base. Like, there's so many people that love the Internals. I mean, obviously you said you didn't like the movie, right? Are you upset by this at all?
No, not at all. It was pretty boring to me. Like, I don't know, it just felt like the Eternals were the audience that watched the entire MCU, and they were just like talking about events that had occurred in the MCU, and then they were just kind of doing their own thing, and they're like, yeah, we're gods and we can't interfere with the actual MCU. But I'm like, okay. The most interesting thing they can do with the Eternals is after they introduce the X-Men, they can do a thing similar to Civil War, where it's like, there's this comic that's Eternals versus Avengers versus X-Men. I don't know if it's in that order, but it's those three versus all another. And I'm like, that's such an interesting and fascinating concept. I would love to see that in action, in motion, in a movie. That would be awesome.
I think they could have the like Doctor Strange effect if they wanted to, because like I don't think that first Doctor Strange movie is that good. Like, I think it's fine, but I love Doctor Strange once he gets entered into the MCU. Like, once he's interacting with Iron Man and all these characters, like, I really love his character and stuff like that. And there's a couple characters I think kind of fit into that mold. I'm sad for the people that were excited. You know what I mean? Like, obviously those fans are so passionate and they really wanted a sequel, and I don't want to be the guy to be like, well, you don't get it because I didn't like it or whatever. Like, I wish they could get a sequel. But I am personally, just my personal excitement, if this was announced, it'd probably may be my least anticipated MCU movie.
Oh yeah,
because same. Like, I personally didn't care, and it sucks because I do think it's like it's a good looking movie. Like, I think like visually it's good. Like, I think it feels the most not MCU movie that there is in terms of like the direction and the way it looks. Like, it feels like it was like, so they had full creative control over it. It felt like, and I think that's what they need to do more of. I really do. It's just I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan.
I mean, if this was an Elseworlds movie, would we feel differently? Like, is it
Sure.
just the fact that it's in the MCU that it's like, what's the point of this? You know?
Sure.
Because like, how does this actually connect to the overall direction and story of the MCU? Right? It's just they're overlooking God. Cool.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
You could have told us that in like 10 minutes of another movie. This did not need its entirely separate movie. You know what I'm saying?
I'm wondering if they're in Avengers. I'm wondering if they get a couple of those characters in there just to make us like them a little
I
bit
feel
more.
like future movies could retroactively make this
Yes.
movie better because we do know these characters now, and it would like if they were to show up later, it would probably make this movie feel more worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe, and they probably couldn't do this because of the budget and because of the cast, because I know they have a huge cast, but like a special presentation for them kind of thing. I don't know if they would do that because like it's a big cast in here. It'd be kind of hard to do that, I guess. But I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, yeah, no, that would work though. True.
And last one here. Got one last story to talk about really quickly, and it's not even a big one. It just, I guess, it's official confirmation. Nova, the Nova series. A Nova series will release in about 3 to 4 years and will feature Richard Rider, confirms Kevin Feige. Again, this is a weird one to announce, just like in an interview. I was like, Comic-Con's next week. Literally just officially announced it at Comic-Con, you silly little goose. Now, a Nova project has been weird, because I don't know if you've seen any of it. It's been, like, highly rumored for many years now. You know what I mean? Like, for at least
Wasn't it a movie at first?
It's weird, because it was always, like, reported as a series, and I always thought that was weird.
Oh, okay.
I always thought that was a weird choice. I was like, there's no way it's actually going to be a show. Like, that's such a weird choice for Nova. But I guess not. Like, I feel like Nova can be, like, your Ant-Man or, like, your Guardians. Like, I feel like he could be such a household name.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's just me or not, but I feel like I would rather watch a Nova movie than, like, a Thunderbolts movie. I don't know anything about the Thunderbolts.
I know, like, I don't know Nova. Like, I'll be completely honest. Like
I just know him from like Ultimate Spider-Man, but
exactly.
I've seen him in something. So
yeah, like I just like I don't really know about the character, but I always found him to be really cool in terms of the powers and stuff. Like, I think him on a big screen.
his helmet is like the Green Lantern ring, right? Like his helmet is what gives him the powers. If I'm remembering
I don't
correctly.
know. I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know the character, which again, I'm excited to know him. Like, I'm excited to get a project to hopefully make me like the character. But at this moment, I don't like. I'm excited for this. The like 3 to 4 years thing is kind of odd to me though. Like,
Same. I was wondering. I'm like, that's such like, why would you announce it this far in advance? Like, I don't feel like this is far enough in development to make official.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's a moral problem I have. It's like they announced like Blade like 5 years ago now, and it's just like, well, it still doesn't have a script. And I'd prefer if Marvel just like didn't announce things so soon. You know, I wish
this is why like. So do you remember like the first trailer for Batman v Superman was like 3 years before the movie came out, or almost, or not entirely 3 years. It might have been like 2.5 years. I'm pretty sure it was the Comic-Con after Man of Steel, so like 2013. Maybe it wasn't the trailer, but that's when they announced the movie, and it's like, you're announcing this movie so far. Or no, I think Batman v Superman actually got delayed, because I think it was originally like October 2015. It's kind of hard to remember because that was so long ago. But yeah, it got announced. Still, it got announced like 2 years before it was coming out, or 2.5 years. And it's like, it's insane that you're announcing this movie right now. But I mean, I guess Superman Legacy also got announced, I guess, just 1.5 years before it's coming out. But that almost feels like a long time. So
it was 2.5 years.
3 years in advance.
Yeah, it was 2.5 years. But also, Superman was like, as soon as they announced it, they were working on it as well. Like they were actively, like I feel like they had to announce Superman that early for they could start getting the budget, they could start casting, they could get a director, they could start, because their turnaround has been very, very fast.
Well, they
Like,
committed to announcing the like whole slate, so yeah, obviously
yeah,
they're gonna announce Superman.
yeah, and but look at like Fantastic Four was announced, I think 2 to 3 years before Superman. Both those movies come out the same day, and
That's
Superman's almost done
crazy.
filming. And Fantastic Four hasn't even started yet. Like it's
What?
crazy. Yeah, they start filming
Yeah,
like
okay.
literally
Marvel
today.
announcing stuff way too early. Dang.
Well, I mean, but that was also the problem, is that under Bob Chapek, I think that was his name, he forced Kevin and the team to announce stuff way too early when they weren't ready to announce them. So like Blade and Fantastic Four weren't ready to be announced, and they were like, "You will announce them now. You just do, whatever," which is dumb. But I don't know. I do feel like we should probably get on to our main topic, though. I'm sorry that took so long. So yeah, we're talking about our favorite superhero shows today. I'll be honest, I try and watch a variety of different shows and movies and stuff. This is still, I feel like, the most, I feel like superhero shows are the TV shows I end up watching the most, just for, the channel and the things I talk about in my inner circle. I'm casually watching most superhero shows that come out. Is this like a genre of TV? I guess it's not really a genre, but is this a type of TV show that you watch a lot?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're going to be going to one by one and talking about some of our favorite shows. And we're going to start with one of your favorite shows, and I think we're starting off really strong with your first pick here. And so we already talked about this episode, and that's Batman the Animated Series. Had to start strong.
Yeah, I might have buried the lead on this one. Darren, how have you not seen this whole show?
I've not seen this whole show. I've seen like 21 episodes.
It's so good. This is my favorite show of all time. Spoilers for everyone. But, I mean, I don't know if this is anyone's favorite show of all time if they're not a Batman fan. Like, it's probably purely because I'm a Batman fan. He's my favorite fictional character. Just favorite character overall of all time. So, this is my favorite adaptation, interpretation of the character. Kevin Conroy is perfect. He is Batman. Mark Hamill, also perfect. He is the Joker. Like, it's just the perfect take on Batman and his world. How can this not be my favorite show of all time?
Yeah. Here's Journey. I think he also likes that version of the Batman as well. That's one of your other favorite ones.
Oh,
that's a hot take.
The
Batman
2004 is much better than Batman the Animated Series. Like, I love the Batman 2004. I do. I love Batman the Brave and the Bold as well. There's plenty of like great takes on Batman. There's so many good takes. Batman Beyond as well. It's not Bruce Wayne as Batman. It's Terry McGinnis, but that's a great take on a younger Batman, and they do the like teenage aspect of it very well. And just the fact that Terry's not a Robin, he's Batman. That's also a great thing about that show. But I don't know. Batman the Animated Series. I think the fact that it just inspired Batman Beyond and like Superman the Animated Series came after this, Justice League Unlimited, which we may be talking about soon as well. That also just adds so much to this show.
Mm-hmm. It's a show that, like, I feel like even if you haven't watched it, you still kind of know it. Like, it is so iconic, and just its images, and like, again, I'm only about like 20 or so episodes into the show, but like Kevin Conroy's easily my favorite Batman. Like Kevin was one of my favorite Batmans before I even watched the show. He is just that good. His voice is so ingrained into pop culture, and just the little bit I've watched of the show, it does feel like a work of art, just in terms of like the animation, the voice work, the action. I love just how, again, just a little bit of it I've seen. I love how dark it's able to go. Like, obviously it's a kid's show, but like it's able to tackle some really dark themes, and I think it's just a golden standard in terms of not only Batman but also just superhero media in general. So yeah, I think this is a great pick.
And even like the comics in DC, like this show did a lot. It created the characters of Harley Quinn, Renee Montoya,
Yes.
It reinvented the character of Mr. Freeze. Like, Mr. Freeze was a D or C tier villain before the episode Heart of Ice, and then he's all of a sudden A plus tier. Like, he's one of the best villains in all
Yeah.
of Batman. It did
Yeah,
so
that's
much for just Batman as a character and his rogues gallery, his world. It added a lot, and a lot of
there's
it
so
translated into the comics, which is just insane.
there's so much flavor within Gotham that I really appreciate. Like, it's, like, I feel like for a long time I never really got the hype of Batman, and like, he's still not one of my favorites or anything. I love him, but he's not like one of my favorites or anything like that. But like, I think it's what do I want to say? I feel like there is such a personality to Gotham and its rogues that I personally just really, really appreciate. Each villain has so much personality. Each character has so much flavor to them that they do such a great job. I don't know, it's amazing.
Yeah, this is just the quintessential version of like so many Batman characters to me.
Sure.
Like Batman himself, Alfred probably even, maybe Robin. Joker definitely.
Joker, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze. This is the version of Mr. Freeze I always think of when you mention the character.
Sure.
Probably even Two-Face. This is the Two-Face I think of. He's awesome.
Yeah, no, I think because I feel like even in the movies, like this is kind of what I want the inspiration to be for like Brave and the Bold. Like, I feel like
it's baffling that the movies have not just looked at Batman the Animated Series in the greater DC animated universe and been like, oh yeah, let's do that in live action, because I think it would translate perfectly, because these have stood the test of time.
I agree. I think, like, I don't know, like, I like some of the Batman movies, but I feel like I haven't watched a Batman movie and been like, this is what I see when I think of Batman. Like, I feel like I don't know, like, I feel like there hasn't been one of the movies where I'm like, oh yes, this to me is Batman. Not to say there aren't good movies, like, I love, like, The Batman, I love, like, the Dark Knight trilogy, but I really want the movies to embrace a little bit of the comic bookiness to it. Like,
yes,
Batman
exactly.
is such a fun character. Like, yes, he's dark, yes, he can be pretty, yes, he can be silly, but I want them to balance of, like, Batman is silly, he has silly villains, but also he'll break your neck. Like, also he'll throw you out a roof. Like, I want them to bring that balance so much. I don't know. I think, like, that's what the DCU is going to do. Like, that's what it looks like they're going to try and do, at least. So, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I don't. Batman the Animated Series is also just amazing in the fact that it's like, it's inspired by Batman 89 and Batman Returns, because obviously this was only picked up because of how successful Batman 1989 was. Yeah. So it's inspired by that, but it's so different and unique unto itself that it's just become its own entity, and it's such an inspiration to everything that came after as well.
Yeah, and like, just from what I've heard, like what people talk about, like, it seems like Batman is what it is today because of Batman the Animated Series. This was the inspiration for like a lot of the modern Batman stuff that we know.
Yeah, I think it's fitting that Batman 89 and Batman the Animated Series are like usually the two big projects that get that embrace and the accomplishments of that. Like, they're the reason that Batman is who he is today. And obviously the comics beforehand had a lot to do with that as well. Just the comics of the 80s and 90s, and then Batman 89 and Batman the Animated Series. That's Batman to all of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's great. I'm that's one of my big goals of this year is I'm finishing Batman this year. Hopefully I will just slowly make my way. I'm
Have you seen any of the movies yet?
No, I'm waiting.
See, Darren, this is I'm about to put you into a trap right here. If you watch all of Batman the Animated Series and you watch all of its movies, first of all, this includes the new Batman Adventures, and there are 4 Batman movies that come with it: Master of the Phantasm, Sub-Zero, Well, I say 4, but that's gonna include you watching Batman Beyond, because Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker is one of those 4 movies, and it has tiebacks to the new Batman Adventures of Batman the Animated Series. So there's a lot more continuity than you are realizing when you only watch Batman the Animated Series. Okay, Darren.
Okay. I mean, I'm in it. I wanna, because what I really want is I want to get to Superman and I want to get to Justice League. So I feel
See,
like
the new Batman Adventures and Superman the Animated Series have crossovers. So like, if you watch the new Batman Adventures, I don't think any of those crossovers are in that run. There is an episode with like Supergirl crossing over, but Superman never shows up in the new Batman Adventures. Batman shows up in Superman the Animated Series 3 times, I believe. So, like, as soon as you finish the new Batman Adventures, you can jump over to Superman the Animated Series. And then you can watch Batman Beyond. Then you can go to Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. And Static Shock and the Zeta Project are also 2 properties that are part of the DC Animated Universe. I have not seen those shows in their entirety. I'm shamefully admitting right now.
How dare you?
But the Zeta Project just seems boring, and Static Shock I really do need to get around to, but it seems like such a product of its time that I'm kind of scared to.
I've heard a lot of people love Static Shock. I feel like
it definitely has its fan base.
It has such a lot of people love that show. And yeah, speaking of people loving that show, I'm moving on to my first pick here. This is the one. I think this is the one show on my list that you have seen. This is the only one on my list that you've seen, and that is Superman and Lois.
Hey, I have seen that.
You have. You actually recently went through and watched the show for the first time, and how was that experience?
I saw season 1 a while ago, and it was really good.
Sure.
But yeah, I didn't get around to season 2 and season 3 until earlier this year, just a few months ago, and I guess that's something I did watch between when I was on last and now. It was pretty good. Season 2, by far the worst season. But season 1 and season 3 are really, really good. And yeah, I think season 3 was really good to set up for season 4. I had my worries about just season 4, just the story it was telling, because I'm like, and then like you and Connor are just kind of like, yeah, it's like the Superman story you have to tell, and I'm like, okay, I get that.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, I love the show. Like, it is. I mean, obviously, it was a long time getting to the show, because I remember when the first Tyler Hoechlin Superman, the like Supergirl episode aired, and a lot of people don't like Tyler in Supergirl. I loved him from those first 2 episodes airing. I was like, I need his Superman. Like, I feel like he is my favorite version of Superman. I think he has that perfect balance of being Clark Kent and Superman, and the like 2 combined. That is so brilliant. He balances those 2 so much. And this is a show that I think just emulates hope. It emulates wanting to be a better person. And when it comes to the music, when it comes to the writing of the show, these are characters that I just love so much. I think that, especially that first season, and I love all the seasons, but that first season, man, I think is one of the best comic book seasons of TV, or at least one of my favorites. It's such a special show with such special characters, and I remember, like, this show came out post-Crisis, and I feel like post-Crisis is a time for the Arrowverse, if you want to call it. It's not technically part of that world anymore, but like it came out at a time where like things were kind of not great. Shows were ending. Flash was at a really weird era of its run. Supergirl was airing its final season, and it was such a shock when that episode first aired, because like the like trailers looked good, it looked solid, but they had that 2-hour premiere, and it was just like, this was different. This felt different than anything the CW had made up until this point, in terms of the writing, in terms of the like production, in terms of just how they were filming it and stuff like that. And yeah, I love the show. I think it's in my top 5 favorite shows ever. So yeah, I love Superman and Lois. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good.
Hero's Journey said Summer Lois really showed how talented Tyler is. I hate oh actually no, we're not answering the rest of that comment. We're not nope, I'm not letting you go into that. But no, Tyler is very talented. I think
Yes.
they nailed the personality of Clark. Like there's so many of these little moments that he just shines. Like I love how excited of a person he is. Like there's him like, you know, helping his sons with like the football stuff, and he's trying to carry the water. He's like, oh, it's too heavy, and he's like, oh, it's chocolate covered bacon, and like he has such a fun personality. And then you can go to a scene where it's like, oh, yeah, this guy you know, hurt mom, and he attacked mom, and he attacked me, and it's just like Lois was like, man, this is no time. This is no time for Superman. He's like, yeah, he's not going. It's just like, oh my gosh, like you have that. You absolutely have that. But he's great. He's amazing.
Yeah, his sons really suck at times, but also there's times where you like completely relate, and you're like, yeah, I get where they're coming from. I get it.
I love, especially Jonathan, man. I love Jonathan. He's such a good son. And like, yeah, I do have, they go through their hills and valleys with the certain characters. Like there's sometimes with Kyle where I'm like, you son of a bitch, Kyle. Like, why are you doing this? And then there's times where I'm like, oh, you're actually like the best character. Like, what the hell? Like, it's so weird. And that would be my only kind of like little complaints with it, is like sometimes the characters dip a little bit, but in general, I think it's great. And then, oh my gosh, the third season destroyed me in terms of its storyline. Absolutely one of the most emotional seasons of television I think I've ever seen. Like Lois's journey, her cancer journey, I think that defined her personally for me as my favorite Lois Lane, because I think that was just such a good choice to show like cancer is such a real thing, and it doesn't pick. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter you're Superman's husband. It doesn't matter you have these amazing kids. It will go for anybody. And it was a thing where it's like, that's the one thing Superman can't punch is cancer. Like, Superman can't do anything about that, and he has to just stand by her and support her any way she can. I think it was such a good way of showing how strong Lois Lane is, because not only is she beating cancer, but she's also out on the front lines doing her job, trying to take down like all of these things, and it's just, I loved it. I really, really did.
She was real stubborn at times, and it was real Lois Lane like. But I'm like, oh, you're so frustrating sometimes, Lois. Just do what your family wants you to.
The diner scene was awesome. I loved it.
The diner scene was awesome.
It's so good.
Probably the best scene of the season, to be honest. It was so awesome.
Good. All right, we're going on.
I like rewound it the first time I saw it. I'm like, oh yeah, that scene just hits. It's very, very Superman.
I rewatch that scene all the time. It's so good.
And also Kyle, he's like, I don't know, I swear some episodes he's like the best character. He's like the best part of the episode. Then some episodes he's like he's most frustrating. Yeah. I'm like, bro, why? Like, why are you doing this episode?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I swear he's bipolar.
Yeah, I think they kind of struggle with Kyle sometimes, but it's all right. It's all right. Alrighty, your next pick here, we have X-Men the Animated Series.
Hey, we did a whole episode on this.
We did our whole last episode. As I said that, in my head, the like theme song started to play, and now I'm sad it's not playing. I just want to do because it's so good.
The theme song is goated, one of the best openings to any comic book show ever. One of the best animated themes ever. It's awesome.
It's I
got that stuck in my head.
I'd argue I think it's personally my favorite theme song of any show.
It's up there, but yeah, I'd put like Justice League and the original Justice League and Batman animated series above it, but I'm also obviously kind of biased towards DC, but this is one of my takes as well. So
yeah, we both watched the show this year, so it's both recent.
And we talked about it, and it was great, and it was awesome. Mm-hmm. And I still need to watch X-Men 97 shamefully.
You absolutely do, and I think, man, how do I talk about this without talking about X-Men 97? Because I think,
look, the hype is scaring me. Okay,
you gotta do it, man. You gotta do it, because I think X-Men 97 improves the show. I think it's like Like if you like this show, I think things only get better with 97.
I'm impressed that this show stands the test of time. That's kind of the most. Well, I mean, Batman the Animated Series, which came out the same year, also stands the test of time. But I don't know. This show just kind of proves that like there's more than Batman the Animated Series. That's like awesome from the '90s.
Yeah, it's I really
because I don't think you're watching this right now. I don't think Spider-Man that came out that same decade in 1994 stands the test of time like Batman and X-Men do.
Sure. Yeah, I think like there's technically things I don't think like there's things that definitely don't age with X-Men as I wish they sometimes did. Like the animation is kind of, you know, whatever. But I also think that's like the charm of it a little bit is that like, oh, it was a product of its time, and yes, it is kind of what it is. But what I really appreciate with the show is they don't pull their punches in terms of like the stories that they tell. Like it's like obviously we had the whole, and we talked about this in the last episode that you were in, but like there's a whole group of people that are like, they're making the X-Men woke, how dare they? And it's like, you didn't watch the original show. Like that's what this show was. It was woke. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the X-Men. And they don't like this is a show that doesn't feel like they were I don't know, pulling their punches in terms of what they were doing.
Yeah, for sure. And
hello.
I feel like that's pretty much why it stands the test of time.
Yeah. There's that I know we talked about this last time, but like my favorite scene from the show, and it might still be one of my favorite scenes in both shows, but like there's that really good Beast scene where, you know, he's trying to do that surgery. He's trying to like with the eye, the girl with the eye, and like his father finds out, and she's like, "No, you can't do this on her," you know, whatever. And he has that really good scene where it's just like, I can't do this anymore. Like this is so hard. I live my whole life like this, and I cannot be accepted the way I am. And it's just like the voice actor just goes so off, and he does such a great job. And you like as a kid, I'd be like, whoa, you know what I mean? And that was the kind of like those were the kind of things I grew up on. And I you know, this is obviously your picks. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but like this is the first superhero thing I really ever watched. So like there is a lot of like nostalgia for me in terms of this show. So I'm actually really glad that you picked it.
Yeah, I didn't really see it much growing up, but just like I had seen some of it before I watched it this year, but most of it, the bulk of this show was first time this year, and I thought it was great. It held up really well. I thought all the characters were pretty damn good, from Wolverine to Magneto to Xavier to Cyclops. Like,
yeah,
Gambit and Rogue I really liked. I know a lot of people probably don't like that relationship just because it's like, oh, you put the two Southern people together, okay, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like there's just obviously they have a lot like from where they were raised culturally similar about them. And so I just think it makes sense that they're on the same team. They have similar upbringings. Their powers are different, sure, but other than that, yeah, they like why would they not attract to one another? It just makes sense to me.
Yeah, Gambit and Rogue are great. And I feel like I can't elaborate any further without they are great. They are very great.
That scares me.
I don't know. There's some fun stuff ahead, buddy. There's some fun stuff ahead.
Fine,
Alrighty.
Okay.
All right, next on our list today, and this is my next pick, I have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. back-to-back Marvel shows. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a masterpiece in most of its run. Masterpiece, that's going a little far, maybe. No, I mean, if you've been around, I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I did, me and Connor went on his channel, last year. We ranked all the seasons. It's a show it took me a couple years to kind of actually get into because those first couple seasons on the first watch, you know what? They can drag a little. It's a show that I feel like you have to love the characters. But once you love the characters, it's one of the best comic book shows on TV. So those first 3 seasons on your first watch, it can go kind of slow. And then season 4 especially, I think is, if not the greatest, I'll just say I think it's the best season of comic book TV that there is. I think it's hard to get better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 4. Both. Is this a show that you're ever going to watch, Connor or Braden?
Probably not. I'm not gonna lie.
So spoilers are on the table.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the Ghost Rider arc is one of the coolest things in just TV history. Like I'm sorry. The Ghost Rider, yes, Ghost Rider is a top tier arc, and then you're like, well, it can't get better than that. And then the second act does see a hero's journey, and the second act does this LMD arc, which is just one of the best things. Like, it somehow gets better than Ghost Rider as it goes along, which is really insane. And just in terms of its characters, its writing, I'd argue, and this is my hot take, I do love Arrow season 2. I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 4 just a little bit more. But no, I just love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a show that is, the way it kind of fills in the blanks with the MCU. Just a kind of, it does what the MCU does, but on like a quarter of the budget, and with, I think, 10 times its writing abilities. Like, I'd put Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 4 above most of the MCU, I think, which is insane because like it's half the budget, it's half the producing and all that kind of fun stuff. And like Secret Invasion came out recently, and did you watch that show, Braden?
No, I did not watch Secret Invasion. I think the last MCU show I saw was Moon Knight.
Okay, well, it's good because it was really bad, and like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did Secret Invasion 10 times better than this, what was it, a $300 million TV show or something. Like, they did that on just a tiniest bit of the budget, and it's just like, what are you doing, Marvel? Like, I don't know, it's so frustrating. And I don't know, like, these are some of my favorite, like, if I'm adding these into like the proper MCU canon, these are all my favorite MCU characters. The way they write growth of characters and the passage of time is really, really great. I don't know. I just love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a show that I could ramble on for a while.
I do remember them like doing Ghost Rider, but I never saw any of it. But sounds like I should check it out sometime.
It's good. It's hard to like recommend though to people just because it is such a long show. Like, it's 7 seasons worth of stuff, but also it's like, it's a good journey. Like it is a good whatever. I don't know. But yeah, we could just move on along to the next one, because I've talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a lot on the show, so I don't need to ramble on about it too much. And oh boy, here's a big one. So we got Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
These two shows, you can really just say they're one show, honestly.
Yes.
Justice League season 1 through 5. They are incredible. They are magnificent. They are glorious, and I would not trade them in for anything in the world. They are amazing. They stand the test of time. I think Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, and even Batman Beyond really kind of help just elevate the show because there's so much established that they revisit in some episodes. And obviously, they don't have to spend as much time or any time really establishing the characters of Batman and Superman because they've already done that in separate shows. Yeah. They only have to focus on the other 5 core leaguers in the initial seasons. Then once they get into Justice League Unlimited, the initial 7, they're already established from the original run. And Aquaman's already established from the episodes he appeared in. And Dr. Fate, he's already made his appearance in both Superman the Animated Series and Justice League. So he's established. So there's like so many characters they introduce, and there's a pretty magnificent, like, it's pretty impressive how many characters they managed to actually flesh out in Justice League Unlimited from all they added. Obviously, not all of them get super fleshed out, but characters like, I don't know, Supergirl, she was established from Superman the Animated Series, obviously, but The Question, Huntress, Black Canary, Green Arrow, they all get a lot of screen time in Justice League Unlimited, but like it kind of always comes back to the initial leaguers, which I kind of appreciate about Justice League Unlimited, is like,
yeah,
the show always remembers its roots.
Yeah, that's something that like Young Justice I think forgets at times, where like they're so concerned about growing the universe that they sometimes forget, oh yeah, these are who our characters were or whatever.
Yeah, it's like Flash's biggest moment isn't even in the original Justice League run. It's in Justice League Unlimited.
Unlimited, yeah.
At the end of season 2, when he takes out the Lex Luthor Brainiac hybrid and he like enters the Speed Force. It's kind of like the whole Young Justice season 2 ending where Wally goes into the Speed Force, but in this, Wally comes back instead of. Oh, I never thought about that. They're both Wally.
Sure.
Hey, shout out to the first 2 seasons of Young Justice, though. Those first 2 seasons are incredible.
If it ended after 2 seasons, it'd probably be on this list.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, those first 2 seasons are peak.
TV. At some point I want to do like I don't know, like a tier list of like favorite like seasons of superhero TV. They're at the like S tier, I think. Like they truly are for me.
Yeah. Something I really loved about the initial run of Justice League, though, I've been talking a lot about like Justice League Unlimited. It's better as like one cohesive unit, I guess, because it has a few different arcs, but overall it kind of tells one greater story. After season 1, I say season 1's kind of its own thing, then season 2 and season 3 kind of just tell a greater story in the Justice League Unlimited universe. But also the Cadmus arc that season 2 that is established the back end of season 1. So season 1 kind of just starts off like, episodic sort of kind of, but establishing its world, its characters. And then it goes like the arc territory where it's like, okay, this is where we're going with the show.
Sure.
And that ends at season 2. And then the season 2 finale is technically epilogue because I think they thought they were ending at this time. And it ends with like a parallel shot of Batman Beyond doing the same like glide over Gotham, and there's a blimp that's in the very first episode of Batman the Animated Series, which is awesome. Just that attention to detail by the guys that created this universe and these characters, or these versions of these characters. And then Justice League 3, they kind of revisit Darkseid, even though, well, I don't want to spoil anything.
Sure. Yeah, no, I like
for
this
anyone
is
that hasn't seen this. Even though it's 20 years old, it's just that good. I don't want to spoil it.
This is a show I grew up on. Like, I think this was my really first big introduction to DC. And I like and like I haven't seen all of either of the show. Like, I think I watched most of them up to a point, and I just stopped on both of them. Just as a kid or whatever, and I haven't got back around to it, even though it's something I really want to get back to at some point. Maybe after I do Batman or after I do Batman or whatever. But I do think for me, and again, this is just from a very young perspective. Again, I haven't watched this for years. This is my DC universe in terms of what I think of when I think of DC. I think it has like usually when I think of, and not necessarily a favorite, but when I think of Superman, I think of this Superman. When I think of Wonder Woman, I think of this Wonder Woman. Same with Batman and Green Arrow and Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl and sometimes even the Flash. Weirdly enough, not the Flash, but one of my top Flashes.
Michael Rosenbaum is the Flash I think of.
He is really good. Michael does a great Flash, but it's hard for me to be
the episode where Flash and Lex Luthor switch minds is so awesome because they let Michael Rosenbaum do his Lex Luthor from Smallville.
I can finally know who it is. I have no idea who this is. It's such a good show.
Did you wash your hands? No. Because I'm evil.
Yeah, because I'm evil. That's such a good episode.
Oh, it's so good. And it rarely misses.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know, I feel like that's rare with so many shows, but just the consistency with all these shows, really.
Yeah.
Shout out to, I guess we've already shouted them out, but Superman, the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, they also fit into that category. I didn't just want to fill this list with those shows, though.
Yeah, sure. That was me with like all the CW stuff. Like I could have filled them up because they're my favorites, but like I was like, I want to mix it up.
Spoilers for what's coming down the pipe.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, no, I really love this universe because I feel like it's so rare with DC to get the full DC universe. Like with these shows, it's usually just this character or this collection. Where like, especially in like Unlimited, it was like it's all of them. Like you get a taste of all the different characters, and that's this and like Young Justice, and I guess even like Batman the Brave and the Bold kind of does this as well. But it's just like you get to see everybody, and that's so cool. Like DC is so cool, and we so rarely get to see it. If that's just because of rights issues, them not being able to build up to it fast enough, or like whatever it may be. So, like this is a show that will always have a place in my heart, I think.
Yeah, Justice League Unlimited's version of the question is still the reason I'm asking for a question show already. Give it to me. Come on, James Gunn, announce that, please.
Announce it. Do it, James.
You're doing a Booster Gold show. Why can you not do a question show?
I gotta give it time, I guess. We gotta give it time. All right, moving on to my next one. And this is one you haven't seen, and I still can't believe you haven't seen it.
Oh,
and that is...
I haven't seen it.
Daredevil.
I see. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it eventually. Okay.
You will love Daredevil. I know you will love. Now I don't know. I'm not even sure if I would have classified this in my top 5 superhero shows. Probably, technically not. But I did really think it needed a shout out because I do think it's like arguably one of the best. Like I think like even if you don't like Daredevil, I feel like most people have to admit, yes, this is one of the best superhero shows ever made in terms of the acting, in terms of the writing, in terms of the like cinematography, in terms of just the characters. This is just not only just a top tier superhero show or comic book show, it's a top tier show in general. Like people talk about those hallway, not to spoil anything for you, because I do think you would really like the show. Look out for those really cool hallway fight scenes, because that's the thing that Daredevil is known for their really well-made fight scenes, well put together, choreographed scenes that it's just known for it. And it's a show that was so popular and was done so well that when it was canceled for years and years and years, you would have the hashtag Save Daredevil, because it was such a travesty that such a good show was canceled before. Even though I actually think it kind of ends at an okay spot, it ended before it was their time to end it, and that's very unfortunate. It was so popular, the MCU has fully brought back the entire like Defenders era, and that's all officially canon because of the love of Daredevil and Charlie Cox is as Daredevil. I recently watched the movie for the first time, and it's a bad movie, but it's a really fun time. But that entire time I was watching the movie, is like this is whatever. But I'm really wanting to just go watch the Daredevil Netflix show because it's that good.
How dare you call a Ben Affleck movie bad?
I did it. I
haven't seen it.
It's actually like, oh man, like go in looking for like a bad, it's like a fun bad movie. Like it's not a good movie, but it's kind of fun to watch type of thing.
I heard Colin Farrell is like so cheesy in that movie.
He's really funny. I have a comment here. As someone who never really cared about Daredevil, it really does good work immersing you into those stories. Yeah, and I think what it is still really the only thing of its kind in terms of superhero shows. It's just how dark and gritty the show is allowed to get. And I guess all the Netflix shows kind of live in that little world, but like you get so immersed into Hell's Kitchen and like the streets of like New York and the violence, and I don't know, it's oh my gosh, it's so good. Yeah, those one-shot fight scenes are just some of the best. It's so good, so good. But yeah, I don't have to talk about this too much because I don't want to jump into spoilers, but I will just say Daredevil's great, and also Kingpin is great. I'm so excited for you to see Kingpin because I think you're really going to love this version of Kingpin. So yeah, we can move on. Vincent D'Onofrio, he is so good. Those brought him back for the MCU, and he's great. He's amazing.
Yeah, he was alright in Hawkeye.
He was okay in Hawkeye. He was better in Echo, though. He was much better in Echo, I thought. Okay, moving on to our next one, and that's The Boys. We talked about this a little bit earlier as well.
Yeah, dude, it's just good. It's just great. It's just awesome. That's what The Boys is. I don't know. It's like the best, I guess, of subverting, what if superheroes existed in the real world. I kind of feel like
Sure.
it's almost the most realistic of it that happened. Yeah, they'd be signed to all these like big corporations, be making big
Yeah.
bucks, and they probably wouldn't be great people.
I think it's a really fun
But
show.
like Homelander is what makes it all interesting.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting about the show is that like everybody's a terrible person. Like there's outside
Basically,
of
yeah.
like even this season, quite slight spoilers for the season, but they even dive into like Starlight, where like Starlight was like the one goodish person, and then they were even like, yeah, she has shit that, obviously not on the level as Homelander or any of these other characters for the murder and whatever they committed, but like there's like everybody is flawed, everyone is bad, and I think it's a show about perspective and watching.
I was gonna say it also depends what is your definition of bad.
Yeah, 100%. Like it changes the view. Where like Butcher is known for being like the quote unquote good guy, but he still murders and destroys and conquers, and he like does all these terrible things. And like even this last season, it was like, again, spoilers for the season. Like A-Train is somehow one of the most morally good characters this season, and it's just like, how did we get here? Like, how is A-Train one of the best morally great characters? Like, this is crazy. Oh my gosh.
I don't know, dude. I feel like I wonder at times, like, how much would I like, because Butcher is my favorite character in the show, how much would I like Butcher if it wasn't Karl Urban? Because, like, Karl Urban's just so awesome and so great, and he fits so perfectly in that role. I'm like,
yeah,
would he be my favorite character if it wasn't him?
Sure.
And
There's,
kind
like,
of same with Homelander, honestly, because Anthony
Yeah.
Starr is so perfect in that role, and he's made Homelander so incredible. Like, if Homelander was someone different, how would those be? Those two definitely make the show.
they do.
Like
Yeah.
they're the two most important characters, and they're the two best characters in my opinion.
I think it goes to show how well made the show is, because like I thought season 4 was my least favorite season. Like I did think that I had some flaws with the season.
To season
And-
4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
fourth season.
I'd agree.
And like even then, like I reviewed the final last weekend, and like we kept going on about like some things we weren't liking, but then at the end we both had to be like, but it's also just so good. Like it's a show that no matter what, I'm always loving it. Like I don't think there's an episode where I'm like, I didn't enjoy that episode. Like it's always a show that's so much fun to watch, and like, I found myself over the last couple of whatever being like, I'm not sure how much Homelander can last. Like I'm not sure how long more you can do this. But every time he shows up, he's so good. Like he's so much fun to watch. So it's just, I don't know, it's just such an enjoyable show for me.
Yeah, for sure. It's like I don't know, season 5 is going to be insane. Even though season 4 might be my least favorite, like this setup for season 5 was incredible,
Really
and I'm like, okay. It almost gave me like Stranger Things season 4 vibes, where like
Everything.
it's literally like leading up to be the end game. Not to draw those parallels, but that's what it is basically. It's like, okay, shit's about to go down.
Yeah, it's great. I think, and yeah, I mean, it's up until this point, it's kind of built out an entire universe. Obviously, we had like the Biolog, we had the Diabolical show and Gen V, which I actually personally like Gen V a little bit more than the boys. I think, which is, I know it's kind of a hot take.
Dang, that's crazy.
But like I love this universe's characters, and like again, I think they do such a good job with characters, with them all being terrible people. Like, and we love, like, Homelander's like the best character, but he's also like the most terrible.
Well, he's like the worst person.
Yeah, like it's and it's so impressive how they do it. Like Homelander is like the worst person. Like he is a representation of so many in real life people that I despise. And then it's just like, but the Anthony Starr is so good. Like he is so unbelievably good, and it's so, I don't know, man. He does such a good job.
This show is so great at making you realize that superpowers would be a terrible thing in the real world.
Terrible. Absolutely. And I 100% agree with you. I think it's the best one-to-one representation on what it would be like to have superpowers in the real world. And that's such a great concept. I'm not sure how much of the comics dive into this.
It
But like,
shows you how easy like people's minds are to be corrupt. Like if you
yeah,
have that power, you're going to take advantage of it.
100%. And the power of corporations. And it's the power of like persuasion, of being like the power of like perspective. Of,
Which
like,
leads to the power of protection.
yeah. Like this
Like
idea.
if you literally can't be touched, what's the harm in doing anything? Like what's the
Yeah,
harm in all these people Homelander or murdering if nothing's going to happen?
sure. Yeah, and it's like it's so crazy because it's like this idea that like, well, they could tell you anything and people are going to eat it up. People are going to like buy whatever you're saying if you tell it in the right way, or if you put it in the right light. And I feel like that's such a good representation on the real world at the time. Like the season 4 finale especially hit so close to home in just like US
Yeah.
politics. Like no, actually this
I didn't love how political season 4 was, but like in terms of parallels to the real world, it hit the nail right on the head.
It's scary how close they got it. They filmed this a year and a half ago, by the way. Like the way that they nailed 2024 in terms of like the US, like whatever. Like I'm not trying to get into politics or anything, but how close they nailed everything was like Simpsons level scary. We're just like, holy shit, I can't believe this.
Terrifying, dude.
Terrifying, absolutely.
I wish the show was less political, but like at least it's getting everything right when it is political.
It's crazy. It's nuts. All right, I guess we gotta move on here. But no, I love The Boys. I think it's one of the better ones, and I'm excited to see how they wrap it up next season. All right, my next choice here. What do I have next? I had Ben 10. I wasn't sure if I wanted to. At first, I wasn't sure if I wanted to put this on the list because in my head I was like, well, it's not like a real superhero show. But I was like, yes, it is. Like I feel like sometimes in my head it's like Marvel and DC. Those are superhero stuff, and I think there's more, right? There's more than that. You have like Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and Ben 10 and Danny Phantom and Avatar. Like you have all of these other things that go into that genre. And
now the Danny Phantom theme song's in my head. It's gonna catch them
all
because he's Danny Phantom.
I haven't seen it. I know that theme like the back of my head. I think it's amazing, but I've never actually sat down and watched the show. But I haven't
seen it in years, but pretty awesome. Yeah. Same with Ben 10. Haven't seen it in years. Mm-hmm. But I've only seen the original Ben 10 as well. Maybe some of what was the one after the original? Was that
was Alien Force.
Alien Force? Yeah, I've seen some of that one. But like, what was that after that?
It was Ben 10, then Ben 10 Alien Force, then Ultimate Alien, and then
I don't think I've seen Ultimate Alien or Omniverse.
Sure. No, that's fair. And I mean, this is just I won't spend too much time on this because I've talked about this show a lot on this channel, so I don't need to go into too much detail. But it's my favorite show in general, like my favorite franchise. And again, when I say Ben 10, I am talking about all 4 kind of shows because it is this kind of one journey, like it's one long kind of continuity. This is my favorite show in general, and I think obviously the show has a lot of ups and downs, like any 230 some episodes, so there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in terms of year run. But I think this is one of the best shows of like what it means to be a hero, like what does it mean to want to save the day. And I think they nail that on the head most days, right? Classic does a lot of like very immature Ben, right? It's very juvenile Ben and just being like, I want to do this or I want this. But I think even at the end of the day, they nail trying to teach Ben the right lessons of being a hero. And like, one of Classic's biggest problems is like he keeps forgetting the same lessons he learns every episode. But in one of the very early episodes, it's about Ben learning what it means to be a hero, and Grandpa just like trying to instill the same this very basic lesson of like, it's not about getting the fame or the fortune, it's about helping people, it's about doing what's right. And I think this is a theme that is furthered by Alien Force, especially early Alien Force. And I mean, is this a show you're ever going to go back and like rewatch? or like try and catch up or anything, or is this you're probably not going to ever, right?
I don't know. It kind of depends because
Okay.
I remember the original being all right, and I remember that Grandpa being way too okay with him like becoming aliens and stuff. Like, are you not tripped out by this, dude?
Wait, absolutely not. So okay, so I won't go into too many spoilers just in case someday you dive in, but there's a 5-year time jump in between series 1 and series 2, and you get to see Ben have to take on.
I do remember him being older in the Alien Force.
Yeah. There's Ben takes on a huge responsibility. Ben, there's a responsibility thrusted on Ben that he has to take on, and that's my favorite bit of the show is that first season run of Alien Force. It gets darker. It gets a lot more mature. He takes on the responsibility. All the whole world's responsibilities are now on his shoulder, and he now has to buckle up and deal with it and take that on, like, because no one else can. And I don't know, it's a show that I will always love. It will always be one of my favorite franchises. I think it's one of the coolest in terms of like a superhero show. I think it's one of the coolest concepts for a superhero show because I actually don't know if you know this. Like, you probably don't. There was a lot of different concepts going into the show because the original pitch was it's a guy that can turn into 10 different superheroes. Like it was originally supposed to be like these stereotypical, like a Superman type person or like a Flash type person. That was the original pitch. It like there was even a world where he almost went to the X-Men. Like he's almost pitched to be like an X-Men, which is a really weird, crazy fact. But I think the idea that you're a hero that can be any hero is such a fun concept, especially as a kid, and it's so good for merchandise to be like it's kind of like Pokemon. It's like, what if Pokemon, like what if there's a Pokemon that was every Pokemon, and each kid has their favorite of these things, right? You could be a Mungasaur, it could be Jet Ray, it could be, Heat Blast. Everyone has their own favorite, and there's such a fun mix of being like, all right, there's a villain. Which hero is he going to use this time to take on this villain? And that's such a fun concept, and it's a world. I think this actually is a show that's way ahead of its time because, like, there was no inspiration for this. It wasn't a Marvel show. It wasn't a DC show. It was just kind of this original story that they did. And I feel like it's so hard to get the ground running if you're not a Marvel or if you're a DC hero. It's its own separate thing, kind of above its time prior to like the big jump in the superhero action cartoon era of Cartoon Network and just like, in general, like the superhero era that we went into. So yeah, I can stop talking now. I'm probably annoying at this point, but
you may have discussed this already on the channel, but I'm just curious. Who is your favorite alien?
I don't know. I don't have like one that I was like, this is my favorite. Like
do you have a favorite from the original 10?
The original 10, my favorite is Upgrade, which I don't know if you remember.
Am I lame in saying my favorite was Heat Blast?
No,
okay.
That's a very
okay.
If you ask 10 people, there might be a bunch of people that said Heat Blast. He's the first ever. He's the first alien we ever seen.
He's awesome, dude.
He's very cool.
He's kind of like, he's kind of burning or what Human Torch from a Fantastic Four, but still, I think he looks cooler. I'm just saying,
he's very cool. Yeah, there's a bunch of fire aliens throughout the continuity, which I actually like the second fire alien that we get over Heat Blast just slightly, just because of like my nostalgia for that era. But no, it's Heat Blast is a great choice. It's an amazing choice. But yeah,
awesome. Glad to know.
Glad to know
because he's awesome. I thought he was awesome.
Our next choice is Doom Patrol. I was actually very shocked when I saw that you picked this one. It actually made me very happy.
I'm glad. I had to throw a curveball in there, man. I do love this show, though. Yes. It's awesome.
It's very
Would this have been one you picked if I didn't pick it?
No, but it's very high up for me. Okay. It's very...
I'm glad to know that I'm the reason this is here, then.
It's probably in my top 10. It's probably my top 10, because I think it's very good.
Yeah, I think this is... I was kind of between this and Peacemaker. I didn't include Peacemaker because there's only been one season, but I do love the first season of Peacemaker a lot. Yeah. And I don't know how much of that is just my bias for John Cena. I think he's awesome, and he's actually become a pretty good actor throughout the years. It was a rough start, but he's gotten there. And anyway, Doom Patrol. Yeah, this is probably my favorite live action comic book show with multiple seasons after The Boys. Yeah. And it's kind of ironic that both those shows have had 4 seasons. But yeah, Doom Patrol ended on season 4. There's not a bad season of the show, I don't think, though. I enjoy all 4 seasons. And it's just impressive for a show to be consistent for that long. Mm-hmm. And I think all the characters get fleshed out pretty well. I enjoy all of them.
Yeah.
Like they're like I kind of, and the show does a good job of making you understand all of them. And
I agree.
Yeah, their personalities and why they are the way they are. And the cast is just phenomenal as well. Like,
cast is phenomenal.
Dude. Brendan Fraser as Robot Man, come on, insanely awesome. Matt Bomer as Negative Man, awesome as well. I love Matt Bomer whenever he shows up in anything.
I think it's one of the most impressive comic book shows. I think it's one of the best, most well-written comic book shows. This is like, for me, and you know, this is not shade to like a Legends of Tomorrow, because I do love Legends of Tomorrow in its own right. But this is like what Legends of Tomorrow, I think, wanted to be, or was like thriving to be. It's like that. It's like, I love it because it is such an absurd show. It is such an absurdly crazy series. You have things about like characters going up donkeys' butts, or you have like giant cockroaches making out with each other. Like it's this absurdly stupid show, right? But also,
yeah, and the show wouldn't have worked if they didn't embrace that aspect of it either.
No, and it's like
they fully embrace the fact that it's ridiculous.
It is, and but it's so interesting because yes, it's ridiculous, but also they embrace the like complexity of the situations these characters are in. Like these characters are in these really absurd situations, but also they have such a heart to the stories that they're telling, and like. These, especially the first season, like I think the first season's up there, and again in terms of one of the best seasons of a comic book show. Like I think that first season's incredible, and the way they write all of these individual characters are so rich and so finely written, and so tragic, and it's so fascinating to watch as they progress through the shows, because it's interesting because it's like the characters sometimes don't progress. You know what I mean? Like they don't go through these like I am learning from my mistakes, but they kind of like go through the same cycle. But it to me never feels like they're not like
I feel like that translates to real life though.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's not a negative, because I think like as they're going through the same things, it's their natural progression of trying to go through their trauma. You know what I mean? Like it feels natural to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I love, again...
It handles things... It handles these, like, ridiculous, nonsensical things in such a real humane way that it just works. Like, they found that balance. Mm-hmm. It's very impressive.
I agree. It's a beautiful show. I love like you said, the cast is great. These characters are great. Robot Man is a top tier, like, DC character, I think.
I'm ashamed to say that I just saw season 2 through 4 earlier this year. Like I just finished the show earlier this year because I just kind of waited for it all to end to. Because I don't know, the first episode of season 2 wasn't much my thing, but once I got the character of Dorothy got better established throughout that season, the more I understood and the more I loved that season. So
yeah, it's amazing, and like that, you know, I think that final season did have a little bit of like a Hills and Valleys situation, but I think it has my favorite. Actually, might have my favorite ending to a superhero show or like a comic.
The ending is so good. Especially
Robot Man's ending.
Yeah, his ending, so perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, it is a heart-wrenching finale. So yeah, Doom Patrol. It's a great show, and I think like I have a feeling this might be one that we get like. Doom Patrol feels like something that I feel like James Gunn would love to tackle someday in his like DCU, and I think that's good. I think they're going to have a high bar if they ever want to do like a Doom Patrol movie or something.
Yeah, this show was really good. pretty high. It set a pretty high standard.
It did. Absolutely did. Alrighty, and our final choice here, my final option here, is kind of in the same vein. They're kind of from the same original streaming service, and that is Stargirl.
I thought it was gonna be Titans.
How funny would that be? No, that's in my
funny. What do you mean? Bottom 5? How dare you?
That's my Titans.
Titans was good at points. Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Are you telling me there wasn't a single good episode of that show? A single episode of that show you enjoyed?
No, they had that Superboy episode that was cool.
Can't believe I'm back in Titans right now.
Actually, my favorite episode of Titans involves Stargirl. So that just proves my
what? That the multiverse episode is your favorite episode? What?
It had Grant Gustin and Flash in it, bro.
Dude, I still don't even understand how that works. How can Beast Boy all of a sudden travel the multiverse? What?
They kind of jumped that storyline, I think.
That makes no sense. Oh, he can see the red. Like, okay, why can he all of a sudden see the red? Are you not going to explain that to me?
Nope. Oh, but yeah, Stargirl. I mean, this is a show. I think this is the most comic booky TV show that's ever been made. I think this just embodies the love and the admiration of what comic books are. It is cheesy, it is silly, but man, do they just make the best of what is given to them. This show has some of the most adorable characters that you will ever meet, but also they tap into like some of the coolest villains that you can ask for. Season 1, I don't know if I want to spoil it because I don't know if you're ever going to watch it, but it's a show that feels like it's stripped right from the comic books. Each character is so sincere. Each character is so fun to watch, and it's a show that actually took me a little bit in that first season to kind of grasp onto and be like, I'm not too sure. There's a couple of things I'm not sure. And each season, by the end of its run, I'm like, this is nearly a 10 out of 10 season of TV for me. And Stargirl, I actually think Stargirl is the only superhero show I have in my S tier. I think it's the only one that didn't have a drop off. Like, even like Daredevil, there's like one or two things where I'm like, maybe that could have been done better. Like Doom Patrol, whatever. Like, one or two things could have been done better. Stargirl for me never dropped in quality. It had this 3-season perfect storyline. And it was canceled prior to it, supposedly. Like, it was supposed to go longer. They had at least a 5 to 6 season goal. And even though they were canceled, they somehow managed to also have one of the best final seasons of any of the like CW shows. Like, it seems like they knew that they might get canceled, so they made somehow the perfect final season. And I actually highly recommend, if you haven't seen the show, if you don't ever want to watch the show, check out the fight scenes of the show, because it has some of the best fight scenes on television. Like, they did a thing where like they knew they could not afford fight scenes every episode, so they were like, okay, that's fine, we will have like 4 to 5 fight scenes a season, just 4 to 5, and you'll go 3 to 4 episodes without a single fight scene, and then we'll give you like the single greatest fight scene you've ever seen. They just have some of the coolest superhero fights in media in general. It's so good.
Dude, it sounds like you're describing Titans right now.
I am absolutely not describing Titans. Are you kidding me? Did they have a good fight scene?
What? Are you joking right now?
We're okay.
Like, some of the editing wasn't great in that show, but some of it was alright.
No, I respect people who like Titans.
Season 1 of Titans, pretty good. Season 2 of Titans, not that good. It had some good episodes though. Season 3 of Titans, the worst. No, the first 5 episodes pretty good, then it goes downhill. The season 4 of Titans, solid actually, probably the best season. That's my review of every season of Titans.
Season 4 is my favorite. It feels like it was just finally getting it finally figured out what show it wanted to be. But no, I love Stargirl. I think it's great. I miss it. They burned their suits, which I'm so mad about, the show got canceled. They burned the
their suits.
Yeah, like typically when a show ends, they put like the suits and stuff in like a museum or like a Comic-Con or whatever. They burned them. What? All. I'm so mad about that.
So you're saying Stargirl is your favorite comic book show of all time?
I don't know if it's my favorite because I do think I didn't put it on this list.
But you think it's the best?
I think it's the best. I think Flash is probably still my overall favorite just because in terms of like nostalgia.
You think Stargirl is better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I do. There's one season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that I don't think is best.
I don't know who likes. I guess does Connor like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. more than you do?
He does.
So he's the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guy.
He is. Although I still love it. I think it's
yeah. I just saw you both as the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guys, but
yeah, we are. It just I think
like Men in Black. He's Will Smith. You're Tommy Lee Jones.
100%. Yeah. Like again, like this is the only comic book show in my S tier category of like TV shows, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's great.
I think Batman the Animated Series and Justice League Unlimited might be my two S tiers. Yeah. Then the other three I picked today are probably A tiers.
And you know what? Look, I have watched a couple since I did my tier list. Like I did recently do like Spectacular Spider-Man, which might be in my S tier too, because I don't think that awesome. Like I don't think that drops in quality at all. So I don't know.
I debated picking that, but I went with Doom Patrol.
But yeah, I do think that's where we're gonna have to wrap up this episode. I do have to work in a couple minutes, so I do kind of have to wrap this up a little bit. But this was a really, really fun episode. Braden, obviously you have a couple podcasts. You upload stuff on your channel. Where can people find you?
Man, I try to manage it all, but on YouTube you can find me at the Red Arrow. If you're watching that here right now.
Absolutely.
My other podcast. You can find the podcast on YouTube. I do That So Random with Andrew usually. He hasn't shown up for work the last couple weeks, but Darren's been over there. We've been talking about some X-Men movies, and we only got Deadpool and Wolverine left. We're planning on ranking all the X-Men movies too, so that's what's coming down the pipe on that show. Then me and Everest do a show called Giggle Gorillas, and who knows what's coming there. I got some episodes I need to edit. I'm not gonna lie, I've been lacking a little bit.
Yeah,
but hey, it's hard to manage when you got your own channel and you got two podcasts. But
sure,
you try to do it.
Yeah, and I've been on both of those shows, so if you want a nice little like transition over to his show, very easy. We've done a bunch of episodes. We did Scream 5 and Scream 6. We've done
that was a while ago, but yeah, we did
Wonder Woman episodes. We've done all the X-Men movies. Like I've done a lot over there, so you have a lot to check out from me over there. And
over the past 4 or 5 years, it's been crazy.
It's been great. And actually I think next week we're doing our Deadpool episode over our year thing. And next week for the pipeline, I will be joined by someone as we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. We're both heading there tonight. And I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm seeing it in just a few hours.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So yeah, guys, thank you again. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.